Okay, guys, let's talk about how to turn your quadratic into a perfect square trinomial by completing the square. All right, that last example we looked at, we had x squared plus 6x minus 7, and we knew that that was not a perfect square trinomial, so we wanted to figure out what term we could put in place of c, or negative 7, to make it a perfect square trinomial. So we went ahead and moved the negative 7 over to the other side of the equation, and now we're left with x squared plus 6x. Now we want to figure out what c term we would need to use to complete our square. So what I want us to do is I want us to look at this visually. Let's take a look at this block right here. I've got an x by x square here, so that makes that x squared, okay? Let's go ahead and add 6x to that, all right? So I've got 1 by x, 2 by x, 3 by x, 4 by x, 5 by x, and then finally 6 by x. Okay, guys? So now I've got x squared plus 6x. And what I want to do is I want to make this into a perfect square. Right now it does not look like a perfect square. It looks like a rectangle. But let's say that I move half of these 6 down here. So I'm going to move half of those 6x's down here. All right, so now I've got 3 up here, I've got 3 down here. Let's see if I can figure out how many 1 by 1 blocks I need to use to fill in to, quote, complete my square, to make that into a perfect square. Okay, so I can add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay? So I could add 9, and that would make this into a perfect square, okay? You could add 9 to the very end of that, and that would make that a perfect square, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that up at the very top. I'm going to add 9 to that. So now it fits the pattern of a perfect square trinomial. So now if I were to look at it, it would certainly fit that a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, and it would factor as a plus b squared, or in this case, it would factor as x plus 3 squared. And if you look at it, that's essentially what we have. We've got x plus 1, 2, 3 times x plus 1, 2, 3. So we got x plus 3 squared. So let's talk a little bit more about how we found that c term that completed our square. What we did was we took the 6x, we divided it in half. We moved 3 of them down here, and that made this 3 by 3. And so we squared the 3, and that gave us the 9, okay? So what you can do is you can take your b term, which was 6, you can divide it in half, and then you can square it, okay? That's how you complete your square. So in this case, we took the 6, we divided it by 2, we moved 3 of them down there, and then we squared it, 3 by 3, and that gave us the 9. So we got 3 squared, which equaled 9. So that's the process that you use to complete the square. You take your b term, whatever it is, divide it by 2, and square it. Now realize, in order to use this method, your a term has to equal 1. Okay, guys? So, and now if I look at that x squared plus 6x plus 9, again, it's going to factor as x plus 3 squared. That gives us that perfect square trinomial.